In this example, we are asked to graph a circle from its equation and then determine some additional information about that circle. However, the equation that we are given for this circle is not already in a standard form. So I'm just coming over here to the side, and I want to compare what we have given to the standard form for an equation of a circle, which is the following: x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared, where h and k form the point of the center of the circle and r is the radius. So I've rewritten our equation here. I've highlighted some things here in green that are part of the equation of the circle in its standard form. They're just parameters that we're going to eventually use. But in red, I have these coefficients of 2. Notice that there is no coefficient here explicitly stated as a parameter, so we should safely assume that that coefficient needs to be 1. So how do we do this? How do we change this? We're going to divide both sides of our equation by 2. So dividing this term by 2, we get x minus 3 squared plus, and then we divide this term by 2, and we get y squared equals, and then dividing the second part of the other part of the equation by 2, we get 4. Now at this point, we have our equation in a standard form. And you may ask, well, what about this y minus k piece? If you really would like to see that, you could always insert an understood 0, because subtracting 0 does not change the equation of that circle in any way. And you may also ask, well, what about this radius? It's expressed as a value squared. So we can do the same thing, re-express 4 as 2 squared. Now we can quickly pull out the information that we need. We see that h is 3, k is 0. So our center is at 3, 0. We also see that r is 2, so our radius is 2. So let's keep up with that information as we try this graph. So now I'm coming back to my Math Labs, the assignment, this particular problem, and we are going to first type in the center of the circle. So the center of the circle, again, we determined to be 3, 0. Next, we're going to find the radius of the circle. We said the radius of the circle is 2. Then up next, we're going to use the graphing tool to graph the circle. And if this is the first time you've used the graphing tool, more than likely it is, you'll see some options over here to the side. And you may even see this drop-down menu right here that kind of explains just a little bit. Choose the tool in the palette and then follow the instructions to create your graph. So we're going to choose the circle tool because ultimately we're graphing a circle. We follow those instructions here at the top. It says click the graph to plot the center of your circle, and we said that center was at 3, 0. If you're not sure if you're at the point 3, 0, it shows up here in the upper right corner. So I'm just going to double check that I am, and then I will click to place that point. Then it says click the graph to plot a point on your circle, and I want that point to be 2 units away so that I see a radius of 2. Okay, so I actually went 4 tick marks there, but my tick marks are on a scale of 0.5. Again, I can look up there to that upper right corner of my graph palette to see now I am 2 units away from the center. I will click that and save. And at that point, I now have the circle graphed over here on the side, and we can check that answer. The last part of this problem asks what are the intercepts, and we can use our graph to help us determine this. So we see 2 x-intercepts and no y-intercepts, the x-intercepts being at 1 and at 5, it appears. We are asked or told some additional information whenever we type in these intercepts. We're told to write them as an ordered pair. Sometimes you're told that, sometimes you're not, depending on how the question is worded. We're also told to use a comma to separate answers as needed. So we're going to type these values using a comma to separate and as an ordered pair.